One of the things that I find to be very interesting and very nice is this notion that you have a theme. However, you sort of threw us a curve up in Berks County because we Pennsylvania Dutchmen, we don't know nothing about that comma word. Now, my mama said, look, if you don't know the meaning of a word, you go to that book called the dictionary, and you look it up and find out what it means. So that's what I done. Now, the definition for that word comma didn't make no sense to me. You know, I read it 2 or 3 times. I came back a month later and I read it again, and it said something about buddyists and confusionists and so forth, and I didn't understand a thing about it at all. But, fortunately, many times a dictionary has 2 definitions. So the second definition was destiny. Now, we Pennsylvania Dutchmen, we know what destiny is. Now, like I was telling you, there was 7 Schwabians, or Schwabs, that was traveling together. Now, don't ask me why there was just 7. But I understand that in many different cultures there are 7 people traveling together. Never 5, never 3, always 7. Well, we had walked all day long and we was pretty tired, and we come to a river. And the day was over and it was very nice, and the full moon, she come out, you know, and we were starting to get the camp set up and get ready to fix something to eat, you know, and I was just standing around looking, and I looked in the river, and don't you know, there in the middle of the river was a pot of gold. And I figured if we could get that pot of gold, then we all be rich. That's the comma thing. So anyway, Fritz says, yes, there's a pot of gold in the river, but it's out in the river. We can't never get that pot of gold. I said, well now, there's a tree growing up here, and you notice that first branch, it grows out over the river, right over that pot of gold. And I think if I climb up that tree and get out on that limb and get a good hold on that limb, and you come up and slide down on, catch hold of me ankles, and the next fella, he comes up and he slides down and gets on hold on his ankles. By the time all 7 of us is a hanging there, the last fella can reach down and get that pot of gold. And then we all be rich. Well, Fritz says, Johnny, I think that'll work. So I climbed up and I got out there and I got a good hold on to that limb, and I said, Fritz, come along now. And he slid down and held on to me ankles. Leo, it's your turn. Directly all 7 of us was a hanging there. And the last fella, that was Ammon, he was about ready to reach down and get that pot of gold. And I said, boys, now wait a minute, my hands are getting tired. Well, we all fell into the river. So then we came swimming out, you know, and we climbed out on the river bank, and I looked around and I said, is we all here? Fritz said, well, why don't you come? And I said, I will. It's me, and it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. One of us is drowned. Fritz said, are you sure? Well, I said, if you don't believe me, you count. He said, I will. And it's me, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Yanni, you're right, there's only 6 of us here. So then we sat around that riverbank all night long, being real sad because one of us was drowned. The next morning, a stranger came along and he said, "What are you fellas doing here on the bank of the river being so sad?" And Yanni said, "Well, last night there was a pot of gold in the river," and remembering that karma thing, "we decided if we got that pot of gold, we'd all be rich." And we was hanging from that limb up there, about ready to get the pot of gold, and we all fell in the river. And when we climbed out, there was only 6 of us. One of us is drowned. And that's why we were sitting here being so sad. And the fella said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I counted and Fritz counted, and there's only 6 of us." Well, he said, "I'm not so sure." He said, "Why don't you come along with me and let's see if we can find us a nice, fresh cow plot." And that's what we done. And he said, "Now everybody get down and put your nose in the cow plot." Now that's what we done. Then he said, "Let's count the nose prints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're all here. There's nobody drowned." But then we was all happy and glad because there was nobody drowned. But now I want to tell you one thing we learned from all of this. We Pennsylvania Dutchmen ain't going to have nothing to do with that karma thing. Thank you.